Welcome to the What is Stoicism podcast.
It's good to talk. The majority of mental health media campaigns today are centered around this simple message. It's now common knowledge that sharing meaningful thoughts and feelings with others is an important part of releasing psychological tension that might otherwise worsen if kept bottled up. There's still a stigma attached to it at times. People remain apprehensive about exposing what they perceive to be weakness. Others may fear being judged, misunderstood, or dismissed. But compared with even a few years ago, it feels as though many more people now understand the value of opening up. To Socrates, a philosopher the Stoics revered and took great inspiration from, talking wasn't merely an occasional tool one could use to ease the mind. It was an essential component of living a good life. In The Hemlock Cup, Bethany Hughes discusses Socrates' habit of wandering around Athens, conversing with anyone he came across. He wasn't simply interested in public affairs or abstract argument. He was interested in what was happening within people. As Hughes writes, Socrates believed that to know ourselves meant becoming acquainted with the soul. Socrates was, in that sense, soulful. He believed open conversation was an essential balm for the psyche. His method brought inner thoughts into the public sphere, not as monologue, but as a dialogue. For him, this was cathartic. It released bad things from the spirit. Dialogue for Socrates was a joint search for truth through talk. It was a kind of purification. He questioned people relentlessly. He challenged assumptions. He guided them towards perspectives that had not previously considered. He favoured active participation in philosophy over writing because, as he saw it, written words couldn't defend themselves, explain themselves, or answer back. Conversation, by contrast, was alive. Socrates engaged. He listened. He asked questions. He shared his feelings and exposed his own ignorance. His persistence may well have been annoying at times, but his purpose was ultimately the well-being of others. He wanted people to examine themselves. He wanted them to care for their souls. He wanted them to talk. As Hughes puts it, Socrates was magnetic because he counselled care of the soul. This idea that conversation can be medicine for the inner life connects beautifully with a story told by Phil Hammond, a British physician and commentator on health issues, who also happens to be a comedian. Hammond often uses comedy to highlight problems in the National Health Service, but one of his most memorable reflections concerns his medical mentor, a GP trainer named Brian Clark. Clark's favourite question was, "Do you know what the most powerful drug in the world is?" Hammond would jokingly answer, "Methotrexate," just to annoy him. But Clark's answer was always the same. It's kindness. It works for absolutely everyone. Free at the point of delivery. Very hard to get the dose wrong. It's a lovely line because it's funny, memorable, and true. Kindness works for absolutely everyone. It costs nothing to administer, and it is very hard to get the dose wrong. The Stoics themselves could hardly have offered a better justification for kindness. Practicing the Stoic virtue of justice, an essential component in the good life, means exercising our capacity to treat other people fairly, generously, and humanely. It means recognizing that we are social beings, made for cooperation, and that our character is revealed most clearly in how we respond to the people around us. Kindness in that sense is not sentimental decoration. It's a serious philosophical practice. It's also one of the few medicines that benefits both the person receiving it and the person giving it. To be kind isn't merely to improve someone else's condition. It's to strengthen our own character. It pulls us out of self-absorption. It softens harsh judgments. It reminds us that other people are carrying burdens we may know nothing about. And often, kindness begins with conversation. Asking someone how they're feeling, listening properly to their answer, sharing something honestly. allowing another person to speak without rushing to correct, compete, or advise. These are small acts, but they can have a profound effect. Socrates understood that dialogue could help cleanse the soul. Brian Clark understood that kindness could work like a powerful drug. Put together, they give us a wonderfully practical instruction for daily life. Talk kindly and listen well. This is not always complicated. We don't need to become professional counselors or philosophers wandering through the marketplace of Athens. We don't need to solve everyone's problems. We don't even need the perfect words. Sometimes the essential act is simply to be available, to say, what's on your mind? To ask, how are you really? To admit, I've been struggling too. To listen without looking away. To respond with patience rather than judgment. In a clinical setting, Phil Hammond concludes his story with advice for fellow medical professionals. If you don't know what to do in any clinical situation, be kind. That nearly always makes things better. For those of us outside the medical profession, we can simply remove the word clinical. If you don't know what to do in any situation, be kind. That may not solve everything. It may not remove grief, cure anxiety, or repair every difficulty. But it will almost always make things better than they would have been without it. And if we take Socrates seriously, we might add one more instruction. Talk. Not endlessly, not carelessly, not merely to fill silence, but with the aim of bringing what is hidden into light. Talk in order to understand. Talk in order to relieve. Talk in order to care for the soul. Because conversation, when joined with kindness, can become a form of healing. So take inspiration from Socrates today. Ask someone how they're feeling. Share something that has been weighing on you. Listen more carefully than usual. Let dialogue become a small act of care. And remember Brian Clark's prescription too. Kindness works for everyone. It's free at the point of delivery. And it's very hard to get the dose wrong.